And that wraps it up for Harry Sullivan and Sergeant Benton. Welcome to the Time Treadmill. I'm Ron, and these are my sweaty thoughts about Doctor Who. As I mentioned before, this marks the final appearance of both Ian Marter as Harry Sullivan and John Levene as Sergeant Benton. Both of them are on record as not being particularly fond of this story. On the part of John Levene, it's because although he was back as Benton, none of the other regular unit crew were there, so none of his old friends were there, aside from, of course, Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen, but he really had very few scenes with either of them. And also, in the writing of the story, his character literally last appears with the robot version of himself knocking out the human version of Sergeant Benton and then going off to catch the Doctor. And so Benton's story remains completely unresolved. It's just a weak way to go. As for Ian Marter in the role of Harry Sullivan, his feeling was that there was no point for Harry Sullivan to be in this story. He didn't perform any particular duties that made it necessary for his character to be there. It just made no sense, and he was there just to be a familiar face. In his case, however, Ian Marter did continue to be involved with the show, albeit not on screen. He went on to novelize several stories for the Target line of books, and became a very well-respected author in that respect, although he never actually returned to the role of Harry Sullivan. He did actually write a book called Sullivan's War that carried on Harry's story, and I've never read that. Now that I think of it, I may go look that up. It is worth noting that this is the second story in a row in which Harry Sullivan has a doppelganger, and that's unfortunate, but there's not much you can do about that. For that matter, this story has echoes of The Chase in the episode titled The Death of Doctor Who, in which William Hartnell faces off against robot William Hartnell. And here in this story, we have Tom Baker facing off against robot Tom Baker. It's all pretty standard stuff. So on the whole, it's not a fantastic story. It's not terrible by any stretch. It's certainly a very workable plot, with aliens creating a mock-up of Earth to practice an invasion, and then culminating in the actual spearhead to invade the Earth. So there are seeds of something good there, and it's certainly nice to see Terry Nation writing something that isn't the Daleks. He's got one more Dalek story left in him, but honestly, I'm all the happier for Terry Nation going off and creating his own series, because Lake 7 is phenomenal and allows Nation to really play to his strengths and do some really excellent dark stuff that could never ever work on Doctor Who. And that pretty well wraps it up for the android invasion. I really don't have any other interesting stories about it, so I'm going to wrap it up for today. Tomorrow is a fascinating entry into Doctor Who, but I'll get to that then. I'll see you tomorrow.